Good evening from wherever you are watching, inside Africa, United States, European countries. This is Soundbrace TV and I'm your host, Engineer Callistus. And today we have our guest as usual in our studio to discuss about the state of our nation, Kenya, and Africa and the world at large. Mr. Lincoln, welcome to the show. Talk to your viewers. They have missed you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. I appreciate for your coming.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy. So, Mr. Lincoln,
yes.
Thank you for coming to this show.
Yeah.
Today, there's some things I've been thinking about we can discuss which are affecting Africa.
Yeah.
And the simple question I want to ask you, we have seen our president, Mr. William Ruto, traversing Africa. Yeah. And each and every meetings, the AU, wherever he has been talking and has been bringing that punch that he can be the king of Africa the way Gaddafi was. Yeah. Do you think Ruto can fit in the shoes of Gaddafi? Remembering that the things that Gaddafi did to African countries, remember he's the one who used to fund the AU and what he did to his country, Libya.
You know, one thing, Africa is one of the best continents. And again, Africa is one of the most confused continents. And again, Africa is one continent with leaders, almost like 99% of the leaders are questionable.
Yeah.
When you talk about William Ruto speaking about uniting Africa, the first question you should ask yourself, if his country is united, are we united? So if you cannot unite your country, then you cannot unite Africa. Yeah. Again, when we say there is a lot of corruption, there is unequal power sharing in the UN National Security Council. What about back in his country? Is he demonstrating that? Has he ever done it and seen it work?
Yeah.
That's another question we should ask ourselves. Yeah. If you ask an average African, they'll tell you that Gaddafi was the best in Africa. That's how they'll tell you, because it is in their thinking. But one thing I want to tell you first, you need to know, like when William Ruto speaks about uniting Africa first, you need to know that there are countries in Africa that would never want to be associated with Africa. Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria. In fact, Egypt participates only in anything to do with Africa. Egypt participates in football, in sports, only football. So when you say like we unite, you should first know that there are countries that have been approaching Europe. They feel like they are in Africa by accident. Those are traitors. When again you speak about uniting Africa, we know like in East Africa we have in West Africa we have ECOWAS. You know what it has been doing in West Africa?
Yeah.
Very useless block of Then again in East Africa there is another one called East Africa Integration, EAC. You see? EAC, who are the members in the EAC and what have they done? The first one is Museveni. You know, many people know the history of Museveni. The other person is Kagame, Paul Kagame. For Kagame to become a president, about 4 million people had to die. For Museveni to become a president, about 5 million people had to die. Million! Children had to be given guns underage. In Tanzania, there is no democracy. You speak anything, the truth about government, then you go missing. In Congo, that's where all looters meet. Now, The first thing he would speak, Ruto was supposed now to speak, he would speak about uniting these, like East Africa. You first unite East Africa, you unite South Africa, you unite West Africa, and not just unite Central Africa again, and not just unite it by a word of mouth, but you can meet these heads and challenge them. Now, let me go back to Gaddafi, because people say Gaddafi was the king of Africa, the best. You know, Gaddafi participated in around 80% destroying Africa. The Gaddafi people think that he was the best. Gaddafi has been destabilizing Sudan for long through his intelligence. His intelligence, national intelligence body called Mogabarat. They have been in Sudan. Sudan again, they have been using the resources they have to fight back Gaddafi. When Gaddafi died, the first person to congratulate NATO for killing Gaddafi was who? Was El-Bashir. And El-Bashir said the bullet that killed Gaddafi is the one who had bought it. Ask me how. In 1980s, there is a group that wanted to overthrow Gaddafi, and it was sponsored by El-Bashir. So now El-Bashir decided now to destabilize Sudan by financing SPLA, Sudanese People Liberation Army. And again, now in return, but I'll tell you how Europeans, now these Americans and the Chinese, then we go back again why Gaddafi now, we think Gaddafi was the best, but he wasn't the best.
But before you go on, Mr. Ruto, when he has been in these meetings, he has been speaking about Africa becoming one, where we can have our own money. You know, one thing, I don't know, what I've come to realize, the Europeans or the Europeans and the Americans, you can imagine when I want to buy anything, I need to use either a dollar, a pound, and now you see it's like my money. Then they regulate. So like a dollar is just jumping the way it is. Why can't we have our own money? For now, if I want to go to buy things in Ethiopia, I'll be forced to change my money into dollars, and that profit goes back to where? To United States. Why can't we have the way Ruto is saying our money? Where is the problem? That's why the African leaders are seeing him as a hero. But will it be possible?
It will take time. It is possible, but it will take time. Because I told you that, as I've told you, that Africa is not united. Today, when you go to West Africa, they are formed anti-coup unit. ECOWAS, anti-coup unit. This coup unit, that is a terrorist unit because it is supposed to terrorize the people of any country in an event they decide to reject their president. That's the correct interpretation of this. So now, have you heard William Ruto speaking against ECOWAS? Have you ever heard? In fact, he was saying that the president of Niger should be restored back. But did he you want to tell us that he doesn't know that this president has almost sold his nation? So this was just a speech to make him appear like an hero, and that's why even today people are questioning that. The first thing, if you want to unite Africans, you should form what we call anti-unit anti-unit coup, anti-unit coup peace, whereby any country that is not supporting the unity of Africa, that is when that's the persons we should deal with. And it is not going to that country to start killing people there, but we deal with the leader of that country. Because now, when we say we unite, it is not be just anyone who wants to unite and others do not want to unite. And I tell you that we have a challenge of this military barracks from African from EU. You find Americans have a very big military barrack in a place like Benin, very big. France are all over West Africa. You see? So, Tunisia, Algeria, and those countries, Morocco, they feel that they should not be part of Africa. So, now when you plan to unite, these are the people who will drag you back. So, we should form first anti-unit coup, where every leader in every country, where we will say, if you are not with us, then you do not belong to us. And these heads of state, majority should meet and vote, pass this as a law, give him tools of power, have this anti-unit coup, whereby any president says, you know what, I'm supporting America, then you go. Okay. That will be the base of starting this.
Okay. We saw Ruto he was in France and he met Mr. Macron some time back. I think it's like 2 months ago. And he confronted Macron directly. And some of the things he's saying, it's true, because these are the people who don't want to see Africa develop, the Europeans.
You know, now, I watched that.
Now, and don't you think through that, you see, if you don't make noise, it was just the way there's Sifuna said a certain say when he was in a certain media house, that at home, when a mangoose or Nini wants to catch your chicken, if you cannot make noise, and it will run away. Don't you think those noises of William Ruto will bear fruits? Remembering that the people we call them, they have been kingpin of Africa like Gaddafi, they had stayed in power for long, like Museveni. He is there for only 10 years unless he changed the constitution. Do you think in 10 years he can be called the king of Africa?
You know, that is laughable. You know, there are things that are practical. I do not know, maybe I'll see things in a different angle. When Ruto was confronting Macron, he appeared like a beggar. In fact, he was not making noise. He was begging indirectly. First, what did he say? If you need us as Africans, we should at least have a position in the United National Security Council. He was begging Africans to be given a position there. That he was begging. Second, he was saying, if we are to pay the contribution that we make, allow us make petty or small amount. And because you guys are giant countries, you can contribute more. That is begging. What we need someone saying, from today, we are not with you. We don't want you. We don't need you. Come out of our country. We are abolishing our ties. Give us time. We go, think, and come back. That it's like now a landlord versus a tenant. A tenant begging for a key so that he can access the premises. We needed a tenant who can tell the landlord, I will never live in your house. I better sleep outside. That is to make the landlord, because now the landlord, the presence of the tenant makes the landlord rich. You see, now the landlord will go broke. These Europeans cannot survive without Africa, because everything, mineral, their business, what they are selling, we get from them. We finance them. So now you cannot go there and start begging, because we have given you a lot. Let us contribute kidogo, and then you give us a position here. You can tell them, keep your position. We are going to form ours. We are going to Russia, where we are welcomed, where they are ready to give us position in those powerful meetings. We are going to where we are honored. You see, it was just that clear. So for Macron, if you looked at the facial expression of Macron when Ruto was speaking, Macron was like, okay, so you want us, you see? So that's not how to bargain for power or someone, a slave. When a slave is demonstrating, you die, you either die or get what you want, but you don't beg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring you like this.
Yeah.
Now, for now, we have European, we have Russia, the East.
Yeah.
Especially Russia.
Yeah.
On your part of the coups that we have seen in Africa, especially the current, the Gabon, the Niger one, leave alone the Gabon, the Niger one.
Yeah.
France, as you said some time back, relies on the is it
uranium from Niger
to produce electricity. 80% of the electricity.
Yeah, they use uranium
from
in their nuclear plants. Yeah.
The military have come in. They have said, you see, these things that was signed by this whatever, we stop first.
Yeah.
That's why you see France is shaken. Yeah. Now, instead of France facing directly the Niger, they're using ECOWAS. Do you think the military way, because now, since the political way, they're the ones selling us. And you see, selling us in a way that they are greedy.
Yeah.
When they go there, they go to European country, we'll give you 100 billion.
Yeah.
Go sign this thing.
Yeah.
Go share.
Yeah.
So they benefit.
Yeah.
Do you think the military way, the way the Niger military has done, is the best? So Africa, we can go that way so that the European can come back.
You know, already ECOWAS, this thing they are saying that they are the coup what in the ECOWAS. Already ECOWAS had been knocked down. One thing I told you, there is no win. You cannot win against the youth. A young person who has nothing to lose versus you, who has a family, who has property, you cannot fight against them. In fact, when you are making a young person poor, you are preparing a weapon that will swallow you. These young people who have these coups, who have done these military guys who have taken, the likes of Dumbuya, the likes of Trod, the likes of Assimi Goita, and now we have Gabon, and it is going to Cameroon now. These young guys already, they said, you go to Niger, you attack Niger, we attack you back. So already ECOWAS is dead. So that and the coup, that ECOWAS and the coup you are forming, they can as well form there. Theirs. So who is the general in these countries who is ready to allow his soldiers to go die in other countries, in other African soil, fighting for a European country to maintain power? You see, when you see Mali, before Assimi Goita took Mali they produced cobalt, and cobalt. Cobalt is used to make computers and the phones and the software, and some stuff like that. And that cobalt they used to buy very cheap. You see? But the computer they make, they come to how much you do, how much, you see? So this is exploitation. So it will never happen. So for anyone to stand today and say, I want to be the king of Africa, you must tell us, first, ECOWAS is useless. That's the first thing we would like to hear from you. Second, you must tell us what we will do, how we will do with this country who are against Africa. Like the countries that I've just said, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, you see? Because they feel that they are not Africans. They think Africans, it's by skill, you see? Something like that.
You have said about, and I've remembered something. And I want to remind you about the late Mr. Magufuli.
Yeah.
He was one of the best presidents on my side. Yeah. I don't know about your side, but when he took over the power,
yeah,
he somehow started fighting the Europeans. Kuna hizo madini nini akisema, na I remember once telling me saying, vita za kiuchumi ni mbaya sana. Huenda nitapoteza maisha. Currently we don't have, he passed away. When he passed away, there was this say that it might be they used corona, but they used the insiders too. You see, don't you think Europeans can allow someone to rise up to go against them? Unless not politician, because what I think on myself, or if I can ask you, don't you think the politician can solve the problem of disconnecting Africa from these European countries? Two, do you think the military way is the best? Because the military are the youth and they have families ambao wanaishi in poverty way. Military si hata nakuanga tajiri, but the politician, they live lavish. Let me give you an example. Politician like an MP in Kenya ni almost marupurupu ni almost 1 million. Sino kweli?
Yeah.
Military analipa pesa yake ngapi? Hata 50,000.
Yeah.
So we are on the same level. So the pain that the common mwananchi feels, the military also does what? Feels. But the politicians are the ones selling Africa. Do you think the military way is the best? Because we have seen like Sankara did a wonderful job.
You know, military, what is the work of the military? Is to defend the country against external attack. So if this does not mean that the country will be attacked through bombs and violence doing anything. So even these cartels, our Zungu, they can attack your country, either direct or indirect. They can attack your institutions, like IBC, like judiciary, parliament. That is an attack. So the military have a role to play to make sure they counter that attack, because they are the last solution. Na tunasemanga wanajeshi, Mungu ni wa majeshi. And that's why atusumbuanangi na wanajeshi. But here what Magufuli, you have asked me about Magufuli. Magufuli said vita za kiuchumi, he can be killed because of economy or anything. Anytime, you know, death is natural. Anybody can die. Anybody can die. Anytime, any minute, or anywhere. So you should never think about death if you are a leader. A leader thinks about achievement. You see?
Yeah.
So Magufuli, saying that Magufuli spoke by against US and these European nations against corona, anything, and they died. That's a politics that I would never want to think about. Because if I was a leader and I say that I'm doing away with these Indians, then the next minute that's what I will do. I won't mind death or anything or concern. I'll first kick them off and then we sit down and now discuss. But again, The reason I normally tell you that Africa has leaders whom I've never known the kind of leaders we have. Look at Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years. So after prison, South Africa got independence, I think in 1994. What about the whites? What did he do to them? He went to live with them. He went to live with them in their houses.
And dine with them.
What about South Africans? They are still crying even today because of white dominance.
Thank you for bringing another.
So we can't trust these guys. The current president of South Africa today alikuwa mtu kama Atuoli, akisema nikikuwa president nitasaidia wafanyikazi. Alikuwa amelid chama ya wafanyikazi. Huyu president wao anaitwa Ramaphosa. Where is Ramaphosa today? He has been swallowed again by the whites.
Okay.
Now it is Malema. We are giving him the last
chance.
Yes.
But now, if you say, like, do you think Robert Mugabe was the best because he talked and the action was done?
You know, these things are democratic. You do this thing, you pass such laws, I can say, laws with big consequences. They are democratically passed. You should not do it. Mm-hmm. You should not do it with a lot of with iron fist. The approach should be soothing, knowing that the end result won't make anyone smile.
Now, you said about Russia. Yeah. Do you think Russia has good intention in Africa? Or is just using that to fight the Americans?
When Africans were colonized.
Wait first, before you finish, you start. Remembering that Russia normally carries African presidents to go to talk to. They go there to talk. Why can't the president of Russia travel, come to Africa if he really needs Africa?
No, he was in South Africa last month. Putin was in South Africa last month. Yeah. And the ICC guys were saying that South Africa should arrest Putin and everything. But South Africa said, the Malema said, no, we want Putin here. We will have meeting with him here, with other heads of states. And Putin was successfully came to South Africa and managed to go back. So, again, when Africa was colonized, when Africans were fighting for freedom, the guns Africans were using came from where? Russia. From Russia. Samuel Machel from Ethiopia managed to fight Italians by guns from Russia. You see? So Russians have an history for standing with Africa. Again, Russia has never messed Africa. So Chinese have messed us big, and the
Americans.
And the Americans and these guys. But now, when you have a bet where you can either bet A or B, then it is easier for your bet losing is not winning and losing is the same. Unlike when it is triple. Because now, when there's Russia, there's China, and there's the US, the Europe, now they'll be fighting against Africa. So we are likely to have now an agreement that can make sense, that at least Africans can benefit from it.
Thank you, Major. Our director is telling us time is up. So, Mr. Lincoln, I always call your parting shot that you can tell the Africans and the Europeans in 30 seconds.
I'll say what the current president, let me call him the current president of Burkina Faso said. He said, a slave that does not rebel against its master requires no mercy. We have to say no to this thing. Yeah. So that at least they can understand that no, It's never the way they thought it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln.
Yeah.
So, our viewers, thank you very much. We appreciate you for being part of us and watching our programs as usual. We love you so much. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly just do that by pressing that subscription button, and make sure you press also that you can get our notification the moment we upload the new videos that we always give you. And also follow us on our social media accounts: TikTok Soundbreeze TV, Facebook Soundbreeze TV, Instagram Soundbreeze TV. We are there. And also remember, we have our website, Soundbreeze TV Kenya, coming up. It's already on the domain. You can find it, but we are very soon. You will get more information and more news on it. We love you so much. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.